we have Two-Face in the room. Once the White Knight of Gotham, now not. Doing his Project 8 entitled Myth. But before that, let us introduce his evaluator. He's a henchman, and he's a henchman specifically because henchmen are usually the first people to die. To explain the objectives for Toastmasters Tarradah speech, Toastmaster College.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. To be quick, my speaker in particular will be doing Project 7 of the Competent Communication Manual, which is research share topic. 8, sorry, my apologies. Gate, which is get comfortable with visual aids. Your objectives are to select visual aids that are appropriate for your message and audience, and to use visual aids correctly, with ease and confidence. Timer and speaker, please note that the time allotted is only 5 to 7 minutes. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Now, introducing Two-Face to do his speech called Myth, Toastmaster Tarradah.
Man.
Press, point. Language, please. Okay.
Yes.
Just hold the mouse.
Just hold the mouse.
Just hold the mouse and walk around with it.
It's man. Titans. Gods. Everything started with a myth. But what is a myth, Master Servants? A myth is usually considered as a legendary story by deities and gods and explains some practice right or phenomenon. But there is a myth that I personally like, which is the Greek mythology, and that talks about many different stories about gods and myths and titans. So one particular myth that I want to talk about is the Great War between the gods and the titans. And it started off like this. It started off with Rhea being wife and sister to the titan Kronos, and she gave birth to a god named Zeus. However, being that Kronos was, let's say, a titan who loved eating children, Rhea decided to take Zeus to Gaia to let him be raised and grow up. However, with that in mind, Zeus grew up to being angry, and he missed his brothers and sisters. So he decided to create, and that started the war between the gods and the titans. So he created a weapon called the Blade of Olympus, which ultimately ended the Great War, and he ultimately won. With that in mind, humans with that in mind, humans were once created as having 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces, which led Zeus to be feared by their power, and which ultimately led him to split them in half and condemn them to walk the earth separately. With that research that I have done, being that Zeus is the god of all gods, the man who created nature, it's best to talk about the god of Olympus. He's a man that has big arms, a beard, and long hair. He is known as being the father of Olympus, and his main weapon is the thunderbolt, which is the powerful weapon in the universe, and he is known to having more than 100 children. I guess you might as well just say he's a lover god. However, with that in mind, he has 2 brothers by the name of Hades, Poseidon, who is the father and god of the seas, and Hades, the god of the underworld. And Zeus is also married to Hera, who is the goddess of childbirth. And with this research that I have done, I came up with, I've seen a story known about Daedalus and Icarus. However, with this story, Icarus is a son of the master craftsman known as Daedalus, who believed that only man can fly. They believed that if they created a sort of mechanism to fly, they would show the world that man can fly. So what they did was they created wings out of feathers and wax, and they tried to test it out. So what they did was they flew, but however, while flying, Daedalus told Icarus not to fly too high so that the heat of the sun wouldn't burn him, or not to fly too low so that he wouldn't fall in the sea. Because Icarus was so stubborn, he did not listen to his dad and he flew too high to the sun, which ultimately let the heat of the sun burn the wax and unfortunately led to Icarus' death. And in the end, well, not in the end, but with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, as John Lennon once said, I believe in everything that's to be disapproved. So I believe in fairies, myths, and dragons. It all exists, even if it's in your mind. And in the end, I'd just like to say, well, no. What I'd like to say is, with this, knowing Zeus that he can create everything with his mind, and having Aphrodite having that timeless and gorgeous body, and Pegasus having the ability to fly, ultimately lets us humans have the future in creating a mechanism to fly. And of course, in the end, I'd just like to say, use your imagination. Because with this imagination that God has given us, it is the imagination of today ultimately lets us be the reality of tomorrow.